Rain fell softly over the silver streets of New London. The year was 2389, a time when humans and aliens shared the same world, but not the same trust. In a small apartment near the city's edge, Eli Grant, a struggling ex-soldier, sat staring at an empty credit chip. His rent was overdue, his stomach was empty. The world had forgotten him. That was when the message came, a soft beep, a glowing blue light. Eli Grant, you have been selected for a private contract. He frowned. Private contract? I didn't apply for any job. Still, he pressed accept. A woman's face appeared on the screen. Her skin had a faint silver glow. Her eyes, too bright, too deep, not human. Mr. Grant, she said in a calm, melodic voice. My name is Lira Venn. I'm not from Earth, but I need your help. Eli leaned closer. Alien help? Lady, I don't do space politics. Lira smiled faintly. It's not politics. It's personal. I need someone to pretend to be my husband for 7 days. He blinked. Pretend? What kind of joke is this? No joke, she said. You will live with me, appear by my side, and act like you are my chosen mate. You will be paid 10,000 credits per day. 10,000 per day. That number hit him like a punch. Enough to clear his debts. Enough to start over. Still, something in her voice made him pause. Why me? He asked. You could hire any actor or android. Her eyes flickered. Because you are human, and I need someone real. She sent him an address, a location outside the city walls. Come tomorrow, she said softly. If you agree. Then the screen went dark. Eli spent the night thinking. Every logical part of him screamed, don't go. But desperation was louder. By morning, he had packed his old jacket and a knife, just in case. He took a hover train out of the city. The farther it went, the emptier the land became. Skyscrapers faded into mist. The sky turned pale and strange. Finally, the train stopped at a private gate marked with alien symbols glowing in silver. A tall guard waited. Not human either. His armor shimmered like liquid metal. Eli Grant? The guard asked. Yeah. Follow me. They led him through a glass corridor filled with soft blue light. Strange plants grew along the walls, humming quietly as if alive. Eli could feel the air thrum with unseen energy. Then he saw her again, Lira Venn standing beside a curved window overlooking the sky. She turned and smiled. You came. Eli nodded. Guess I'm here for the job. Lira handed him a small contract chip. This will protect your identity and transfer your payment automatically, she said. Eli signed without reading the fine print. The chip glowed, sealing the deal. For a moment, silence filled the room. Then Lira said quietly, Before you meet my family, there is one rule. Never remove this ring in front of them. She gave him a small metallic ring, cold, light, and covered in symbols. Eli slipped it on. Instantly it hummed and tightened around his finger. What's this thing? A safety, she whispered. It makes you look more like one of us. Before he could ask, the door opened. 2 alien figures entered, tall, elegant, with silver markings across their skin. Their eyes studied Eli with quiet suspicion. Mother, father, Lira said, her voice calm but tense. This is my husband. Eli froze. He tried to smile. The father's gaze was sharp as glass. A human? He said slowly. You married a human? The room turned cold. Lira's hand tightened on Eli's. Yes, she said, and I love him. For a heartbeat, no one spoke. Then the father smiled, but it was not a kind smile. Welcome, son, he said softly. Let us see if your love can survive the truth. Eli felt a chill run down his spine. He had no idea what truth the alien meant, but deep down he knew this was no simple job. Eli Grant tried to breathe normally, but the air inside Lira's home felt strange. It was warm, almost alive. The walls shimmered like liquid glass, shifting colors as if the house itself was watching him. Every surface glowed faintly, whispering sounds that made the back of his neck tighten. He followed Lira down a long hallway. Her steps were silent, smooth, almost floating. "Nice place," he said, trying to sound relaxed. "You always live in a glowing spaceship?" She smiled softly. "This is not a spaceship. It's my family's home, built from living crystal. It reacts to emotions." "Emotions?" he muttered. "So if I get scared, the house will scream?" Lira looked back, her eyes serious. "Yes." Eli stopped walking. "Wait, you're joking, right?" But the wall beside him flickered red for a second, like a heartbeat. He swallowed hard and kept moving. They entered a round chamber filled with floating lights. In the center, a table of pure light waited, and Lira's parents were already seated. The alien father's name was Lira Venn, a high-ranking diplomat from the Andaran Empire. The mother, Mara, was calm, but her eyes were sharp and cold. Siran's gaze burned into Eli. "A human husband," he said again. "Unusual choice, Lira." "It's my choice," Lira answered, sitting beside Eli. "And you will respect it." Eli forced a polite smile. "Happy to be here, sir." The alien father leaned forward. "Tell me, Mr. Grant, how long have you and my daughter been in love?" Eli's brain froze. He had no script for this. Lira's hand brushed his under the table, a signal. He smiled quickly. Since we met on Earth 2 months ago. It was love at first sight." Mara tilted her head. "Interesting. Most humans find our kind unsettling." "Not me," Eli said, trying to sound confident. "I find her special." For a moment, silence. Then Saron gave a thin smile. "We shall see if your feelings are real. Tomorrow you will attend our family ceremony. There your bond will be tested." Eli nodded slowly. Inside, his stomach twisted. A bond test? He didn't like the sound of that. After dinner, Lira showed him his room. It was circular, glowing faint blue with walls that moved like slow waves. "This house," Eli said. "It's beautiful, but it feels alive." Lira nodded. "It is alive. It protects us, but it can also destroy intruders." "Comforting," Eli said dryly. "So what happens if it decides I'm not your husband?" Lira looked down. "Then it will erase you." He blinked. "Erase? You mean?" "Yes," she whispered. "Completely." Eli took a deep breath. "And you didn't mention this before I signed the contract?" Lira looked guilty. "If I told you, would you still have come?" He sighed. "Probably not." "Then I did what I had to." For a long moment, they stood in silence. Eli could see something fragile in her eyes. Fear, maybe sadness. "You're not just doing this for money, are you?" he said softly. Lira looked away. "My father wants to marry me to a commander from my world. I don't love him. If I don't prove I've already chosen someone, they will force me." "So you hired me to fake it," Eli said. "Yes, but now, the test is tomorrow. And if the house senses you're lying, it will expose us both." Eli rubbed his face. "Great. So fake husband, real danger." Lira placed her hand on his arm. "If you trust me, we might survive this." Her touch was warm, almost human. For the first time, Eli felt something more than fear. Maybe pity. Maybe something deeper. That night, he couldn't sleep. The walls glowed faintly around him, pulsing like a heartbeat. He heard soft whispers. Not in English, not even in words. Something ancient. Something watching. He sat up. "Hello?" The whisper stopped. Then the wall rippled, and a face appeared. Not Lira's, not human. The voice spoke inside his head. "You don't belong here, human. Leave before the dawn." Eli jumped back. "What the hell?" The face melted away and the wall turned blue again. He rushed out of the room and found Lira in the hall. "There's something in the walls," he said. She looked pale. "You saw it too?" Eli nodded. "It told me to leave." Lyra's voice trembled. "That was the Guardian. It knows you're not really my husband. Tomorrow's test will be worse." She stepped closer, her silver eyes glowing softly. "Eli, if you fail the bond test, they won't just erase you. They'll erase me too." Eli stared at her, realizing how deep he was in now. A fake marriage, a living house, a deadly test, and an alien woman whose life now depended on him. As the walls hummed softly around them, one thought burned in his mind. What have I gotten myself into? The next morning arrived too soon. A cold light spread through the crystal walls, painting the rooms in silver. Eli hadn't slept at all. Every whisper, every flicker from the living house had kept him awake. When he looked in the mirror, he saw his tired eyes, and the strange ring still glowing faintly on his finger. It pulsed like it had a heartbeat of its own. Outside his door, Lira was waiting. She wore a flowing gown that shimmered between blue and white. For a moment, Eli forgot she wasn't human. She looked beautiful, but the fear in her eyes was real. "Are you ready?" she asked softly. "Ready to get erased?" "Not really," he replied. Lira gave a small smile that didn't reach her eyes. "Just remember what I told you and stay calm. Keep your thoughts close to mine." "The test reads emotion, not words," he frowned. "How do I keep my thoughts close to yours?" She took his hand. "Like this." Her skin was cool and smooth. The ring on his finger glowed brighter, and suddenly he felt a strange warmth in his chest, like her heartbeat was echoing inside him. "What was that?" he whispered. "Our link," she said. "Temporary. It might save us." The great hall of the house was filled with alien guests, tall beings with silver skin and glowing eyes. At the center stood a giant crystal structure shaped like a heart. Energy flowed through it, pulsing softly. Lira Venn, Lira's father, stood before the heart. His voice carried power. "Today we test the sacred bond between my daughter and her chosen mate. The living core will see their truth." Eli swallowed. Lira squeezed his hand. "Step forward," Saron said. They approached the glowing heart. The surface rippled like water. Lira placed her palm against it. Eli hesitated, then copied her. The crystal was warm, alive. "Now," Saron said, "let your hearts speak as one." The moment Eli touched it, the world exploded into light. He was no longer in the hall. He stood in a wide field under a golden sky. Lira was beside him, her hair shining like silver threads. "Where are we?" he asked. "The test," she whispered. "It shows our truth. We must convince it we belong together." Before he could reply, shadows began forming around them, dark figures whispering in strange voices. "Human fake intruder," Eli tensed. "What are they?" "The memories of doubt," Lira said. "If we let them win, the core will know we're lying." The shadows moved closer. One reached for Eli's arm. Its touch felt like fire. He pulled away, but they surrounded him. "You are not her mate," they hissed. "You want her money," Eli shouted. "I don't care about the money anymore." But the shadows left. Lira grabbed his hand. "Look at me, Eli," he turned. Her eyes were glowing bright blue. "Think of what's real," she said. "Remember why you came." He remembered the hunger, the loneliness, the cold streets of New London. But now, standing here with her, he felt something else. Purpose. "I came because you asked for help," he said. "And I won't let them hurt you." The shadows screamed and burst into mist. The golden sky cracked open and the vision faded. Eli gasped as he found himself back in the great hall. The heart crystal was glowing fiercely, flooding the room with blue light. Saron's eyes widened. "Impossible." Lira looked at Eli, confused. "What happened?" The heart pulsed again, and a voice echoed through the hall. "The bond is true." Gasps filled the room. Mara stood, eyes shining with disbelief. "The core accepts him?" "It does," Saron said, his tone dark. "But how?" Eli staggered back, his ring still glowing hot. "What does that mean?" Lira whispered. "It means, it believes you love me." Eli blinked. "Wait, what?" "We were just pretending." But her eyes were soft now, uncertain. Maybe the core saw something deeper. Before he could reply, the ground shook. The heart crystal cracked down the center. Blue energy burst out like lightning. Guests screamed and ran as the hall shattered. Lira grabbed Eli's hand. "Run!" They raced through the corridors, the house shaking around them. The walls screamed this time. "High, painful, alive. What's happening?" he shouted. "The core doesn't lie," Lira said. "If it saw truth where there should be none. The house doesn't understand. It's collapsing." They burst out into the open air just as part of the roof exploded behind them. The glowing house that had watched them since the start was now breaking apart, shards of crystal falling like rain. Lira turned to him, her face lit by the burning blue light. "Eli, you did it. You passed the test." He shook his head. "No, something's wrong. That thing said the bond was true, but it shouldn't be." Lira hesitated. Her voice broke. "Maybe it is." Eli stared at her, and for the first time, he couldn't tell if this was still a job or the beginning of something real. Behind them, the house screamed one last time and went silent. The ruins of Lira's house glowed faint blue against the night. The air was heavy with dust and static energy. Eli and Lira stood among broken crystal walls that once whispered softly. Now they only hissed like dying machines. Eli wiped the dust from his face. "That place nearly killed us." Lira stared at the shattered heart core in the distance. It wasn't supposed to happen. The house only reacts that way if something impossible occurs. He looked at her, confused. "Impossible like what?" "Like a real bond between a human and an Andoran," she said quietly. "It's never happened before." Eli laughed once, nervous. "So now the house thinks I'm your real husband?" Lira didn't answer. Her eyes were glowing faintly again, brighter than before. They moved away from the ruins, following the path toward the dark hills. Strange lights flickered in the sky, silent, cold, watching. After an hour of walking, Eli noticed Lira moving slower. Her hands trembled, and faint blue sparks flickered around her skin. "Hey," he said, "you're burning up." "You okay?" "I'm fine," she whispered. But her voice was weak. He reached out to steady her, and the moment his hand touched her arm, a jolt of energy shot through him. His vision flashed white. For 1 second, he saw inside her, a storm of light twisting, wild and alive. Then it was gone. He gasped. "What was that?" Lira stepped back, scared. "You weren't supposed to feel that." "Feel what?" She hesitated. "The bond changed something. It woke something inside me." Eli frowned. "Something what?" Her voice trembled. "Something my people hid for centuries." They reached a small cave under the rocks. The air inside was cool and still. Lira sat down, her hands glowing faintly in the dark. "My kind," she began softly, "are not as peaceful as humans think. Long ago, before we made contact with Earth, we were warriors. We learned to control energy itself. But that power became too dangerous, so it was locked away, inside bloodlines like mine." Eli listened silently. "When I bonded with you," she continued, "the link didn't just fool the core. It completed it. My dormant power awoke." She raised her hand and light spilled from her palm like liquid fire, curling into shapes in the air. Eli took a step back. "Lira, that's not normal." "No," she said, her voice shaking, "it's not. And now the Empire will come for me." Outside, the wind howled. Eli walked to the cave mouth, staring into the night. "So what's the plan? We hide? Run? Pretend none of this happened?" Lira stood beside him. "You don't understand. If the Empire learns I bonded with a human, they'll see it as corruption. They'll destroy us both." He turned to face her. "Then we run, together." She blinked, surprised. "You'd risk your life for me?" He smirked. "Hey, it's kind of my job, remember?" But deep inside, he knew it wasn't just the contract anymore. Something had changed, something real. The ground shook suddenly. A low hum filled the air. Eli looked up and saw lights descending from the clouds, silver ships, silent and fast. "Tell me that's not them," he said. Lira's eyes widened. "They found us." The ships hovered above the valley, beams of white light scanning the ground. A metallic voice echoed through the air. "Lira Venn, by order of the Andoran Council, you are to surrender immediately." Eli grabbed her hand. "Move!" They ran through the rocks as beams sliced the ground behind them. The air smelled of ozone and burning stone. Lira stumbled, her power flaring out uncontrolled. A wave of blue energy rippled across the valley, throwing one of the ships off balance. Eli stared in shock. "You just took down a ship." "I can't control it," she shouted. "It's too strong." They reached an abandoned outpost, a rusted human station from the old wars. Eli kicked the door open and pulled her inside. "Stay down," he said, scanning for weapons. He found an old plasma rifle and loaded it. Lira leaned against the wall, breathing hard. Her glow was fading. "Eli, if they catch me, they'll take my mind. Erase everything," he looked at her. "Then they'll have to erase me, too," she smiled weakly. "You really don't know when to quit, do you?" "Never did," he said. Outside, footsteps echoed, metallic, inhuman. Lira stood, her hands shaking. "If I lose control again, run." "Not happening," Eli said. "We started this together." The door exploded inward. Silver soldiers stormed in, weapons raised. Eli fired first, bright blast cutting through the air. Lira raised her hands, light bursting from her palms like a storm. The outpost filled with fire and light. When the smoke cleared, Eli was still standing, but Lira was on the floor, her body glowing brighter and brighter. "Lira!" he shouted, running to her. Her eyes opened, glowing pure white now. "Eli, it's too much. It's breaking me." He held her hand tight. "Don't you dare give up." For a moment, the world was silent, and then her power exploded, swallowing everything in blue light. Silence. That was the first thing Eli felt. A deep, endless silence. No wind, no sound, no breath. Then came the pain. Sharp and heavy, like his whole body had been ripped apart and put back together. He opened his eyes. The world around him was white. Not snow, not light, just white. Endless and empty. "Lira?" he whispered. No answer. He tried to stand, but his legs trembled. His head throbbed with strange images, memories that weren't his. He saw stars burning, alien cities rising, and blue energy flowing through veins that didn't belong to a human. Then he heard a voice, soft and distant. "Eli," he turned sharply. There she was, Lira, standing a few meters away. But something was wrong. Her body was half transparent, her glow faint like a fading echo. "Lira!" he shouted, running to her. But when he reached out, his hand passed right through her. She smiled sadly. "You shouldn't be here." "What do you mean?" "Where is here?" "This place is between worlds," she said softly. "When my power exploded, it tore space itself. You were caught in it." Eli looked around the endless white. "So we're dead?" "Not yet," she whispered. "But close." He sat down on the nothingness beside her. "You said your power was too strong. Why didn't you tell me it could kill you?" Lira's voice trembled. "Because I didn't know it could also save you." He frowned. "Save me?" "When the energy burst, it tried to destroy everything near it. But our bond, it pulled you inside. My power linked to you." Eli looked at his hands. Faint blue light flickered under his skin. "Wait, are you saying this?" "Yes," she said. "Part of my energy lives inside you now." He stared in disbelief. "So I'm half alien?" "Not exactly. But you are no longer just human." The white space began to ripple as if wind moved through invisible air. Lira looked up. "The barrier is collapsing. You must go back. What about you?" She smiled faintly. "My body didn't survive. I can't return. But a part of me will stay. Inside you." Eli shook his head. "No, I'm not leaving without you." "You have no choice," she said gently. "The bond made you my link to the living world. You're the only one who can carry what I've awakened." "What did you awaken, Lira?" he asked quietly. Her glowing eyes softened. "Something old. Something my people feared. A power that can connect minds across worlds and or destroy them." Eli swallowed hard. "And now it's inside me." She nodded. "Use it wisely, Eli. Promise me you won't let them find it." "Who?" "The Andaran Council. They will hunt you now. They will want what's inside you." The white world began to crack and black lines spreading through the brightness. "Lira!" he shouted, reaching for her again. She stepped closer, placing her glowing hand against his chest. "Goodbye, Eli." Her voice was soft, breaking. "You gave me something my world never could. Freedom." The cracks widened and the white light swallowed everything. Eli gasped and opened his eyes again. He was lying on cold metal. The air smelled like oil and smoke. Alarms blared in the distance. He looked around. He was inside a wrecked spaceship, Sparks flew from the ceiling. The floor tilted sideways. A broken Andoran insignia glowed faintly on a cracked wall. Not dead, he muttered. Guess that's something. He stood, feeling weak but alive. Blue light still flickered faintly under his skin. Every sound seemed louder, every vibration sharper, like his senses had multiplied. He stumbled to the control panel and pressed a few buttons. The screen blinked. Location unknown, signal blocked. Then a distorted voice came through the speaker. Human, you carry the forbidden energy. Identify yourself. Eli froze. Who are you? The voice crackled again. We are the Andoran Recovery Unit. You have something that belongs to us. He looked down at his glowing hands and whispered, Lira's power. Then he turned off the radio. You're not getting it back. He searched the wreck until he found a small escape pod still intact. He climbed in, breathing hard. As the pod door closed, he felt a faint whisper inside his mind. Eli. It was Lira's voice, gentle, echoing from somewhere deep within him. I'm here, he whispered back. You're not gone. The pod launched into the darkness of space. Stars rushed past. Eli looked out through the glass and his heart pounding, his mind burning with energy that didn't belong to him. He was no longer just a man pretending to be an alien's husband. He was something new, something both human and Andoran. And somewhere out there, powerful beings were already hunting him. He clenched his fists, blue light glowing through his veins. Come and find me, he muttered. Let's see who survives. Stars drifted slowly outside the small escape pod. Eli sat in silence, his hands glowing faintly under the dim light. Every few seconds, the voice returned. Soft, calm, and familiar. Eli. It was Lira again. He wasn't sure if it was a memory or something more. Lira, he whispered. I keep hearing you. Are you real? The voice replied inside his mind, gentle and distant. Part of me still lives in you. The bond didn't end, it changed. He exhaled slowly. Great, now I'm talking to ghosts. But deep down, he didn't want the voice to stop. The pod system beeped. A message flashed on the screen. Signal detected. Unknown source approaching. Eli looked out the window. A massive ship was approaching from the darkness. Its hull shimmered silver, Andoran design. His heart jumped. They found me again. He tapped the controls. The pod had no weapons, barely enough power to move. The Andoran ship locked onto him with a tractor beam, pulling him closer. Lira's voice echoed in his head. Don't fight. They won't destroy you yet. They'll try to take you alive. Comforting, he muttered. The pod shuddered as it was dragged into the ship's docking bay. The doors sealed shut with a hiss. When the air cleared, a group of tall figures stepped forward. Silver armor, glowing eyes, weapons aimed. One of them spoke. Eli Grant, you carry Andoran energy. You are under arrest. Eli raised his hands slowly. You don't want to do this. Silence, human. But before they could move, a pulse of blue light burst from Eli's chest. The guards staggered back, shouting. Their armor flickered and cracked as energy rippled through the room. Eli gasped. He hadn't meant to do it. His hands were glowing bright now, and strange symbols floated across his skin. Lira's voice whispered urgently, Eli, you have to control it. If you let it out, it will kill you. He dropped to one knee, breathing hard. The energy dimmed slowly, fading back under his skin. The guards lay unconscious. The room smelled like burning metal. Eli stood up shakily. Okay, note to self, don't get angry. He took one of the guards' ID chips and opened the nearest door. The ship's corridor was silent, lit with blue light. He moved fast, hiding in the shadows. The voice came again. Eli, head to the control deck. There's an escape route. He frowned. How do you know? Because this is my father's ship, she said quietly. He froze. Saron's ship? Yes, he's here. And he knows you survived. Eli clenched his fists. Then I guess it's time we met again. The control deck was huge, filled with transparent screens showing star maps and glowing energy readings. At the center stood Lira Venn, tall and still, staring out into space. I knew you'd come, Saron said without turning. His voice was deep and calm. You carry her power now. I can feel it. Eli stepped forward. You tried to erase her. Now she lives in me. Saron finally turned. His eyes were cold silver fire. That power doesn't belong to humans. It will consume you. Funny, Eli said. That's what they said about freedom, too. Saran's expression darkened. You think you understand what you've taken, but that power was forbidden for a reason. It can reshape minds, entire realities. Eli hesitated. Then why did Lira have it? Saran's eyes softened for a moment. Because she was chosen and cursed. The energy inside her was never meant to awaken, and now you carry it instead. Eli's pulse quickened. Then teach me to control it. Saran looked at him coldly. No, you are human. You will destroy what she tried to protect. Lyra's voice whispered inside Eli's head. Don't trust him. He wants the power, not peace. Eli took a slow breath. You're right about one thing. I'm not Andoran. I'm something new. Saran raised his hand, and a surge of silver energy filled the air. Then prove you deserve it. The room erupted in light. Eli's blue energy collided with Saran's silver storm. Waves of force rippled across the deck, shattering screens, bending walls. Sparks rained down as alarms screamed. Saran moved like lightning. Eli barely blocked each strike, every impact shaking his bones. Lyra's voice guided him. Don't fight his strength. Use the bond. He focused, feeling the warmth inside his chest. Her presence, her power. The energy responded, flowing like water through his veins. He opened his hands, and a pulse of blue light shot forward, surrounding Saran in a glowing field. The Andoran leader froze, trapped inside the light. His eyes widened. This energy, it listens to you. Eli stepped closer, breathing hard. No, it listens to us. The light faded, and Saran collapsed to his knees. Tell your people, Eli said, his voice shaking with power. I'm not their enemy, and unless they make me one. He turned and walked away as alarms blared across the ship. Behind him, Saran whispered almost to himself, maybe the human heart was what the power needed all along. Eli reached the hangar and climbed into a small fighter craft. As the engines roared to life, Lyra's voice spoke one last time. You're changing, Eli, but remember, the more you use my power, the less human you'll remain. He looked out into the stars. Then I'll use it carefully. For both of us. The ship launched into space, leaving the Andoran cruiser burning behind. For the first time, Eli didn't feel lost. He felt like he had a purpose, to protect what was left of her, and to find out what he was becoming. The stars stretched like silver rivers across the black sky. Eli drifted through the endless dark inside a stolen Andoran fighter. The hum of the engines was the only sound, calm, steady, lonely. He hadn't slept in days. The blue glow under his skin pulsed slowly now, quiet but alive. Sometimes it whispered in a voice he knew too well. Eli. He smiled faintly. Still with me, huh? Always, the voice of Lira replied inside his mind. But something's changing. You feel it, don't you? He nodded. The energy no longer felt foreign. It felt like part of him. His thoughts were faster, his senses sharper, but his reflection was different. His eyes glowed faint blue like hers once did. He was no longer the same man who had once taken a fake marriage job for money. The ship's screen blinked suddenly. Incoming signal, unknown origin. Eli frowned. Another Andoran ship, but then he heard the voice. Clear, strong, impossible. Eli Grant. If you can hear this, I'm alive. His heart stopped. Lira, the voice continued, faint but real. I don't know how much time I have. They took me beyond the Andoran border, to the outpost of Vale. It's not a place. It's a prison built in folded space. Please, if you hear this, the message cut off in static. Eli stared at the screen, stunned. You're alive. For a long moment, he couldn't breathe. Then determination lit his face. He gripped the controls tightly. Hang on, Lira, I'm coming. The journey took days. He followed faint energy trails across the dark. The closer he got, the stranger the space became. Stars bent like reflections on water. His ship's systems glitched, showing coordinates that changed every second. Finally, a shadow appeared, a massive structure floating in the void. The outpost of Vale. It looked like a broken mirror suspended in nothing, its surface rippling with trapped light. Eli whispered, You weren't lying. As he approached, his sensors flickered and died. The ship's lights dimmed. Then, out of nowhere, a voice echoed inside his head. Human, you should not have come. Eli looked around. Who's there? We are the wardens. The outpost exists to contain what you carry. Blue light flared around his hands. You mean Lyra's power? No, the voice said. Your power now. Suddenly, tendrils of light reached out from the station, grabbing the ship. Alarms screamed. The hull began to crack. Eli shouted, "Lira! Talk to me!" Her voice came faintly trembling. "Eli, they're trying to erase the bond. If they do, I'll disappear forever." He closed his eyes, focused on the energy inside him and the bond they shared. It pulsed in rhythm with her voice, like two hearts beating as one. "Then we fight," he said. He reached out with his mind, and the ship responded. The blue light spread through the metal, merging with its systems. For the first time, he didn't feel separate from the power. He was the power. He aimed the fighter toward the outpost and unleashed everything. A beam of pure blue energy shot forward, tearing through the rippling barrier. The station screamed, and not with sound, but through his mind. The walls of folded space began to collapse, showing glimpses of other worlds, other times. He saw Lira, trapped inside a transparent sphere of light, her hands pressed against it. "Eli," she cried, "I've got you." He pushed harder, but the energy burned inside him. His skin glowed brighter, cracks of light spreading up his arms. Lyra's voice shouted in his mind, "Stop! You'll destroy yourself!" He smiled weakly. "Then I guess we're even." The explosion was silent. Light filled the void, spreading like a heartbeat across the stars. The outpost shattered. For a few moments there was nothing. Then, a spark. The fragments of light gathered slowly, reshaping into two figures. One was Lira, the other was Eli. He gasped, realizing he was floating in open space but breathing easily. His body wasn't human anymore. It shimmered like energy, solid yet transparent. Lira floated closer, her eyes wide with disbelief. You became one with it." He looked at his glowing hands. "I didn't mean to," she smiled softly. "You saved me again." They drifted closer until their hands touched, and the energy around them calmed. The stars above burned brighter, and for the first time, the universe felt quiet again. "Lira," he said gently, "what happens now?" She looked at him, her voice warm and steady. "We can't go back. You're not just human anymore. You're something between both worlds. Maybe something new?" Eli nodded. "Then maybe that's the point. Maybe the future needs something in between." She smiled. "A bridge." He reached out, taking her hand fully. The light between them pulsed, blue and silver merging into white. "Together?" he asked. "Together," she said. Far away, deep in the Andoran Council chambers, alarms flickered. A new energy signature had appeared, unlike anything ever recorded. A voice trembled through the hall. "The human survived. The bond has evolved." But out there in the stars, Eli and Lira didn't care. They were free. Neither human nor alien, but something entirely new. Something born from love, sacrifice, and the courage to cross the impossible distance between worlds.